Hey everybody, this is Brad Dyke reaching out to you saying hi. We are still doing some really cool things here, and I wanted to show you, based on some requests that I got out there from all of you, over 700 plus hits on my introduction of the idea of how can you have a brand new spanking server that's high end, ready to go, could last several years, with stuff that was built 6 years ago. Well, the answer to that is very simple. And that's what this video is about. How to use warranty surplus equipment to make brand new equipment from scratch. Now, this kind of goes back to my last two videos about OEMing build-outs for server platforms that are really robust. So let me give you an example of what I mean. So the robustness of what I'm talking about, as you can see here, are lots of pieces and parts and so on and so on and so on, and my work orders and just a lot of stuff here that you see. And this is in regards to a Dell Precision rack mount version 7910 chassis, Series N. That's a Series N motherboard. And the very first thing that I was doing here is to show you that, yeah, this is gutted. There's nothing in this. This is just plain old metal. And it is basically a shell, if you know what I mean. And I've got a couple of different generations of these board environments, but this is how I sneak past the need for buying brand new gear, is because I make brand new gear out of warranty surplus equipment. Now, what I mean by warranty surplus equipment is, you see, for a manufacturer to make a brand new server, they are required by law to have a surplus of resources that are there to support the warranty. Warranty replacements, warranty swap outs, part replacements, and so on. So with that knowledge in place, realize that you go for the year life cycle of what's called the life cycle 3/5 year plan. By the 6th year, you have a lot of warehouse of equipment that you pretty much have to get rid of. Now, you can offer to recycle the equipment, but then you take 100% loss in income. Or the manufacturers can simply say, let's just sell the parts and pieces in support of whatever is still out there on eBay and farm this out to clearance houses, which is what they do. And the clearance houses now have the burden of making a profit versus the company, Dell or HP or whoever, in the equation. So by doing that, here is the opportunity I'm talking about. Those parts have never been used. They're brand spanking new. And because of the nature of their new state, in other words, fans that have never spun, ever, that's real life that you give your environment, because they are built in such a way so that they can give you the full life cycle of a piece of hardware. Now, there is a challenge to this. Let me show you this challenge. You see, when you're dealing with these boards, you also have to take the time to make sure that you are securing them in copy versions and warranty coverage, which is only no more than 30 days, 14 to 30 days. And as you can see here, here's a 7910 motherboard or main board. It is an S&P board. It has 2 processor stacks, 2 allocation groups of RAM, and so on and so on. Highly redundant, very functional, very capable. But because you bought this from an eBay source, the warranty of all of these components need to join in pattern with the actual parts that you're going to test. Because if you don't do that in the right order, you're going to end up owning dead equipment. It can't be swapped out for replacement equipment. So in this case of a $100 motherboard, you can see here, everything appears to look right. Does it? So, unlike the 4 endpoint corners, which are all reinforced with a plate, so if I lift this up, you can see the plate header underneath it. You see it? And over there, and then over here, in here, here, and then here. But wait a minute, something's off. So if you look closer, you're going to see something that is not right. See it? It's bent up. It took a hit during shipping. These are the weaknesses of these particular types of equipment. If you don't have the right kind of box that you ship this in, and I received this in a foam wrap with what's called cardboard pulled corrugated wrapping, which is really weird stuff, by the way, and it did not sufficiently protect this effectively. So I just got a brand new motherboard that's damaged, and I got it for free because I got a refund under my warranty agreement. And then over here, I have the same motherboard, but if you look at it, that light indicator switch is not wiggly, and it's firmly attached to that corner. And there is an endpoint data and voltage load input there, so that's a very serious issue damage-wise to the motherboard. That motherboard is dead and not to be used for any reason. So we'll just keep it for plastic spare parts, because these boards do come with a lot of plastic on them. Specifically air ventilation controllers, extenders, setters, handlers. You also have a piece that goes over there. You also have this piece. There's still value in a motherboard if it's not usable, because as you can see here, the heat shrink shroud is here, the extender here, the wrap bracket's here, this endpoint bracket, which actually can come off. Should come off. I'll get it off here in a minute, but anyways, these all belong on the new motherboard, which will go right there. So this is how you break the bank, and at a very low cost. All of this you see here roughly ran me about $300. If you had bought this in a pre-config state, you don't learn anything. You can't really modify and tweak this out like I recommend, but that would cost you close to $800 to $1,000, and it would have already been used for a long period of time because they're surplus. These environments are not, and I bought them a whole heck of a lot cheaper, and it works. With that being said, the next video run will be me building out this unit, as you can see here, bringing the board on board, putting the power supplies on, running minimal state, and then at minimal state I'll be able to then turn around and do some additional functional testing and so on. But the cool thing is that what I've got here is functional, and it will give me everything I need to do immediately on board for the initial media testing platform. And as you can see, I have a multimedia header here, which will go up there in the front. And this is a media-based version of the DX730. It's not focused on storage capacity, it's focused on compute and process. So definitely part of a Proxmox or a VMware environment and so on. Very localized in effect, but still very usable. It has and is built very successfully also for supporting technologies such as extended power extenders for GPUs and so on. But I'm not, if you look right here, there's a GPU extender with the GPU output connector on it. And then of course we have the reduced format, which does not have that on it. But the overall strategy here is everything here technically would be considered brand new in what's called an alt state. In other words, it has never been put into a complete solution to be sold as new. So with that being said, this video is talking about how does this work, and how do you really make a brand spanking new machine with new stuff that's never been ever pulled out of its bag from the day it was made until it was time to surplus it out because they no longer sell that hardware, and they got to make room for new hardware, and how you can think outside the box and build yourself some impressive equipment. Now, this is the equivalency of basically building out brand new servers for a corporation or a company, and then putting a third-party VAR support agreement on that equipment, as well as maybe buying some extra parts and pieces so you have your own internal warehousing of components, specifically power supplies, CPUs, memory, and stuff like that, the small stuff. These things are really well built, so they can take a beating. They're designed to do that, by the way. So when you're working with this stuff, you realize how functional it really is as you're going through it all. So for this short little take on the continuation discussion of working with OEM parts, putting them into something new, making something brand new in concept is really been asked for by everybody. Say, hey, explain this more to me. I need to know how you did this. and how do you do it so that you get the right kind of warranty support, even if it's only for 30 days and so on. And it's all about structuring it as in exactly what you need, how you need it, and in what order you need it, main board, all the support components for the main board, and so on and so on and so on, until you get down to the drives and the add-ons for later. And then, of course, you're doing it in the time frame windows of those 30-day windows of warranty support for the items at which you got. All in all, it pans out pretty good. But let me show you one little trick that somebody tried to pass by me besides the damaged motherboard. Okay, so this is a Series 7 RAID controller for the 7910 platform. Very functional, very good performing based platform, but this is the battery that goes with it, which goes in like that. And that battery is a lithium ion. But there's a problem with this little guy. If you put it on its angle, you will notice it has a bulge. It's bulbing in the middle, which means this lithium ion battery is exploding. And it's bulging on the inside too, as well as on the outside. So the issue here is they've sold me an item, which I did want, this RAID controller specifically, because this is the best burst level NVMe style RAID controller setup that this platform can use. And the second version of that is going to be the NVMe controller RAID. And this is actually the right one I'm going to put on this motherboard. But when I noticed this, I immediately said, hey guys, the lithium on this is shot. I need another one. And so I got another one, and I'll put it on its place. And this is an example of how they try to sneak things by you till it's too late. So with that being said, the most important thing you want to do here is structure it so you're testing all of the items you need to test in the appropriate sync and order. In this case, this is a daughter card for the motherboard, so I can't get away without it. So it has to be a part of the motherboard testing process, and therefore it's an important item that we need to keep track on as we're working with this stuff. So with that being said, this is going to bring this particular video to an end. I'm going to be doing one also on conveying the nature of NVMe in a NAS device versus the truth of how fast you can go. So I'll put that video up next, and everybody have a great time. Like the video if you like. God bless, and have a great weekend.